Today, we're going to be taking a look at Flare CPG for Zendesk and how we address 5 of some of the most common issues that consumer affairs and folks in CPG are addressing inside of their support and customer experience today. We'll briefly do an overview on FaBSG and Zendesk and kind of how we've co-developed this solution here. And then we'll get into a few of the use cases and then into a live demonstration. So as I mentioned, we're going to go into a quick overview on FaBSG here. So we've been in business roughly 25 years and have over 75 employees across the globe and have done thousands of implementations in customer experience as well as ERP, digital marketing services, and CRM on the sales side as well. We have some of the largest libraries of add-ons from multiple CX platforms, and we are a master reseller, implementation partner, and ISV partner, Zendesk, and one of the fastest growing Zendesk partners in North America. So just a few of the major brands that value FaBSG here. Starting at the top here, looking at folks like Johnsonville Sausage to address a lot of the similar use cases that we'll be talking about here today, along with Challenge Dairy and even some folks in medical device leveraging similar functionality here in CPG to address a lot of the same use cases. And then rounding out with some of the other major brands that we work with, like Samsung, Accenture, and BSF Logistics, all with 1,000+ user deployments across the globe. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Flare CPG and what we've co-developed with the folks at Zendesk and how it integrates really a whole plethora of functionality into a single pane of glass, so agents don't have to do that swivel chair motion and are really able to address end-to-end an entire case, inquiry, or ticket from customers that are coming into the system, and even interacting with some of those back-end systems that maybe we're on fulfillment or order management or anything else there too. So starting off with one of our first use cases here, we'll talk a little bit about recalls. Obviously this is never anything that folks want to get involved in, but we want to put something in place to really be able to quickly get out in front of things like recalls so that we're able to quickly address them, whether it's at a customer's home or at a business that we have products at. So in this use case, Popeye's bagged spinach, we need to quickly pick it up from the stores that need have had some type of product defect. So from directly inside of the Zendesk system, if we've had a certain number of tickets, we hit a threshold for that, we can fire off a process that notifies the appropriate individuals, and then we can actually go as far as taking action directly inside of the system to initiate a recall process or initiate one for approval directly from a store or set of stores, as we're seeing here, or from an individual pickup location that could be possibly a customer's household or anything else like that. This could even be interacting with a third party like Stericycle that would actually go ahead and pick up that individual item from a customer's house or from individual stores there. Next use case we'll be talking about here is the ability to quickly search for products that we may have inside of our inventory when a customer is calling in. So if we get an example concern that someone has issues with crisps that they purchased and they want to be able to help find some alternatives inside of their brand, or maybe they have an issue with this and they don't know the particular size or weight or any other type of information that may be associated with the product they're calling in about. So while customers are calling in, they don't want to really have to wait for time for folks to search. So what we've done is we've provided a full list of product inventory right inside of the same support system that agents are using to respond back to customers, so they can quickly search through the entire product line and filter down to a specific product, even down to UPC or manufacturing code if the customer has that, and then automatically decoding that and providing relevant information to either send back to the customer or to store as part of the issue or inquiry for reporting purposes later, so we can start to track how many issues we're having with a particular product or set of products or from a particular manufacturing or fulfillment center. Next use case, similar to product search, we also, probably run into a lot of use cases where customers are asking, about current stock, either, online or at a particular store that they, more often go to. Maybe they've moved or they need a specific quantity that they're unsure of they can find, at the local store. So they want to call you directly and understand, where the best place for them to go is. So in this case, someone needs 40 bags of red mill, wholemeal flour for an upcoming bake sale, and they want to know where they can get it in their location. So again, how we're able to address that is right inside of that same pane of glass. So while they're on the phone or while they're chatting with a customer live, they can quickly search that product name or search the UPC code, search the customer's zip code or address and give a radius, and then populate exactly, which stores have that particular product in that quantity size. And then, with a single click, share that information back directly with the customer, or just tell them over the phone exactly where they can locate that product there. Last use case we're going to be talking about is around refunds, remuneration, and coupons. So, obviously this is a broad spectrum, but we've delivered a set of functionality that we believe helps address a wide variety of functionality that can help with any of these tasks here. So specifically looking at when, a customer has an issue, or you want to give something back for a product defect, or even fully refund the price of an item via check, we can address that as well. So in this use case, just pretty simply, a customer wanted to try the olive oil, but it's a little pricier, so they're asking for a discount or a coupon. And what we're able to do is, inside of the system, directly from the same area that we're either chatting or emailing or communicating with the customer, we can send them a coupon that we may have stored already inside of the system. So we can house all of those coupon informations. We can set tiers and thresholds for what a particular agent is allowed to deliver to a customer. And then we can actually send that off as physical mail, whether that be at a report at the end of the day that goes to a fulfillment center, or printing directly to a tray that may print those physical coupons itself. We also integrate with a lot of digital coupon providers as well, so that could be sent back directly to the customer in a digital format. So we're also able to, in addition to sending out coupons, actually send out full-on refunds of a particular product up to a certain threshold, or send approval for sending a refund to possibly a manager for additional approval there, or sending a check up to a certain dollar amount based off of that. And we're going to get a history of what that was sent to that customer previously as well, so we can make sure we're keeping an eye out for fraud or anything else fishy that's going on inside of the system there. The last piece of this that we wanted to cover off on is, obviously, after we're taking all these actions and delivering a phenomenal customer experience, we really want to be able to aggregate data on both sides of the fence. So the types of requests that we're getting, the actions that we're taking, and how efficient our agents are being in managing these, and really uncovering where any bottlenecks are, so that we can continue to iterate and move forward on the process. The nice thing about the solution in Zendesk is that everything is compiled and reported and tracked, and you're able to not only leverage the hundreds of out-of-the-box reports that are specific to the issues that have come in or the agent's efficiency, but also things like the number of checks that were sent out, the types and products that we're getting most frequently requested as defects or for stock search, so that we're really able to hone in on where are most of our volume coming from, and plan for the future, whether that be products or agent count or anything else on that side of the fence. And in addition to the out-of-the-box reporting, we can get very granular with our ad hoc reporting to very quickly and easily clone existing reports or create them from scratch to get at exactly the type of metrics that we're looking to answer. So that was all we had from slides here today. If there aren't any questions already right now, I think we'll move into a very brief live demo to show you guys exactly how some of this functionality works inside of the system. So now we're inside of the Zendesk system, and kind of think of this as our hub and our homepage to really address any type of inquiries that come into the system across any channel, whether it be chat, email, a form submission, SMS, or even phone calls. So we're going to click into what a new issue or inquiry looks like. As we're taking a look at this case, we're going to be presented with a few options on the left-hand side here, as well as our communication that's been directly with this individual, whether it be internal or external communication that we're storing. And on the right-hand side here, we're going to be presented with the Flare application, which is going to be both our conduit to any back-end systems that we're pulling data in, as well as the UI layer of how we're going to interact with that data or search or filter on it as well. So we're going to be able to bring in data from any type of order management system. So it's typical for customers to be bringing in data from an ERP like SAP or Oracle, or even times a lot of homegrown systems that they're using to store either product information or any other types of data points that are relevant to help an agent deal with their job there. So we have functionality, going from the top on down here, just at a UI perspective, we're able to initiate that recall, which we'll talk about in a second. We have our product search capability and then our stock search here as well. So if we wanted to initiate a recall, if we had a major issue that we've seen 10 or more requests in a specific hour for a particular product type, we can click this button right here, and it's going to bring us to a screen that's going to see whether we want to initiate a recall from a store or a pickup location. In this case, we say store, and we say the Safeway here, and also in Memphis. We can send this recall out. It looks like from my agent level, we don't have a authority to do this recall ourselves, but what it's going to do is going to send this up for management approval to someone right away so that they can take action on that and send it out. Another use case we discussed is this customer is calling in and they're asking about a specific product, and maybe they have the UPC code or they threw the product away and they're talking through it. We want to be able to quickly identify exactly which product it is and filter down to see maybe what size it is or what information. And as we're seeing here, we have a little bit of information on this product here, and we can add this directly to fields to track or back into the communication with the customer here. But if we want to get even more detail on this particular Burberry saffron half teaspoon, all we have to do is click in here, and we're going to get a whole host of information. This could be 5 fields or it could be 50 fields coming from a back-end system to identify what this exact product is and where it is, possibly where it was fulfilled, what the base capacity, any other set of data points that may help us answer questions about the particular product there. Another use case that may come up from time to time is, again, customers calling in and asking specifically about where they can find a particular product. Maybe they've always gotten their dog chow in Memphis, and now they're coming to a different location in Tennessee or somewhere else. Oh, looks like, yeah, they can still get this in Memphis here. We search within their zip code in a 5-mile radius, so we can see exactly that they have this, it's in stock, and we can share with them that information the same way we did last time, and automatically store that type of request for reporting later. One of the other areas that we touched off on too was talking about refunds and remuneration. So being able to deliver out coupons and checks and any other type of remuneration to customers there. So what we did is we actually built a window right inside of the same area that they're going to be communicating back to these customers here. So I'm going to click the Flare icon. And before I'm doing this, we actually are going to get a nice log of any of the information that we sent regarding any types of former coupons or remunerations or checks to this customer, just again to be making sure if they submitted 10 requests in a day, probably want to talk to my manager before sending out another coupon or check from a fraud perspective there. So again, we're going to select between send check and coupon. In this case, we're going to send them a coupon for 10% off. This could house all the coupons, so not limited to just the few that we have here. Any custom ones we can store inside of the system. And in many cases, we still want to send this off as physical mail. So we're going to check this box here. And because we did, we're going to be presented with an address because it may be different than where we previously had sent or what we had on file for this customer. Maybe they've moved before. Once we do that, one of the other nice functionalities is we're going to be actually able to dynamically build out a letter or response that goes to this customer via some kind of pre-templated paragraphs or what we call macros to be able to address common issues. But as we hit next, and it's going to automatically create this and then send it out as possibly a physical coupon or a direct email response here, we can actually still go in and edit this and say, thank you for thinking of us. So we really cut down on the time it takes to create this, on any errors that may come from trying to create these from scratch time and time again, and then still offer the flexibility to customize things as we move forward there. So one of the last parts I did want to cover off, so in addition to the sentiment or CPG functionality that we're delivering here, we do have additional functionality that we deliver to look at sentiment. So we can kind of think of this as, instead of sending customers a CSAT survey or any other type of things here, what this is doing is it's actually looking at the data inside of the response, overarching from the customer. So looking at the individual message that they've sent, giving us a sentiment score on that. And then it's also looking at their overall score in terms of lifetime they've been communicating with us, in terms of how happy, angry, or neutral they are in terms of dealing with us. We also are able to flip this and look at agents as well. So we can see that typically an agent has a sentiment score of an 8 or a 9. Maybe on our team of 50, we have 1 or 2 people that have an average sentiment score of dealing with customers that's a 3 or a 4. So everyone's going to have a bad day here and again, but probably a good opportunity for training for those 2 or 3 agents that have a significantly lower score than the other agents. That brings us to the end of our demonstration today. I did see, I think we had a couple of questions that were in the chat here. One of which is, what outside systems for reporting can you bring data into Zendesk? Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing right here, this is data coming in from a backend system, as I had mentioned before. So this could be coming in from pre-massage from a data warehouse or a BI tool, or it could be coming in directly from an order system or any type of warehousing system that may be used to house this information. We've even gone as far as letting folks take action on this information specifically based on orders that they have in the system, storing at a customer level to specifically address RMAs and returns based on product data that has been captured for the customers there. We also have the ability to have completely different profiles. So in this case, someone may be dealing with more of a B2B style customer. So they're able to see their total revenue and their total spend and the particular products that they have purchased recently, and take actions and refund based on that, and also get some nice graphical representations of how that customer is performing month over month or year over year from an account management standpoint, if we're dealing with kind of both B2B and B2C users inside of the system that we're supporting. And as I mentioned, you can have completely different views and tabs for that information for possibly agents that may be handling different types of customers inside of the system. Looks like we had a couple other questions here. What other channels can customers reach out to our support and customer experience group on if they're using Zendesk Flare CPG? So that's the nice thing about everything being built fully on top of the Zendesk platform here, is we can address any type of response from a wide variety, since Zendesk is a true omni-channel solution. So starting with our basic email, as well as web form or chats directly from the website, as well as SMS and even social and messaging sites as well coming into the platform. And then we have our fully integrated telephony solution as well. So calls that come in are all handled, by Zendesk directly inside of the platform, or even integrate with many existing phone systems to deliver, again, that single pane of glass and all that recording for any type of conversation that may happen, on the phone as well. Another question here: can this solution be used for other industries? Yeah, absolutely. So this, started off, being geared towards CPG, but we see a lot of customers addressing very similar use cases and using the same functionality here to address things in spaces like retail and manufacturing, delivering RMAs, returns, and refunds, very common processes in those industries as well. Also, a lot of times leveraging a lot of the same functionality around product and stock search, or even adding to a customer's wish list. I think that's all we had from a questions perspective. Would love to open it up to anyone else on the line to ask any other questions about either the previous slides or the quick demo we did here. Happy to address those.
Yeah, Dan, so there was a question just about general pricing. Understanding that pricing varies, but just is there any kind of information you can get about what is the general cost?
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about Zendesk is that you can have the entire suite of products, going from, true omnichannel, including the phone system, as well as their knowledge base and guide to help with case deflection. And then you can also have components of the solution as well. So, pricing really ranges from, typically it's based per user per month. And that's, anywhere from around $40 per agent all the way on up to around $200 per agent for the entire suite there. The nice thing about the solution itself is that we have, basically built the building blocks in it pre-integrated to a lot of the most common systems. So time to stand something up like this is really cut down. The amount of custom development is almost negligible, because we're leveraging the power of Zendesk and their platform, so that when we have to go in and make edits to the actual solution, it's really done as more of a business analyst or admin type function. So when we want to edit data that we're storing from another system and how we view that, all we do is we drag and drop if we want to see sales transactions before products or anything else like that inside of the system. And we can even get in and edit, how we want this data to look and what fields we're presenting, all in a nice point and click UI right inside of the same platform here. Any other questions?
Yeah, there was one more question, Jan. I'm not sure if you had addressed it yet. It was about, from a reporting perspective in Explorer, are you able to bring in third-party data?
So that is on the road. So there is basically the ability to report on any of the data that's being housed inside of the system here. Reporting on the data that we're bringing in from external systems here is coming in the second half of 2021. So first, you're going to be able to expose data via CSV that you're feeding into the Explore dashboards and the reporting functionality. And then eventually we're going to be able to report on all of the data down to, SKU and UPC level as it relates to specific cases and inquiries inside of the system here and agent performance.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dan.